Talmud Bavli, Tractate Beitzah, page 9a, top of the page. Testament Aleph, top of the page with the word Gilgal, Isa, Me'erev Yom Tov. If one needed dough on a festival eve, in other words, the day before the festival, he may separate its challah on the festival. In general, he or she. In general, one may not separate truma and tithes on a festival. However, since it is permitted to bake bread on the festival for the requirements of the day, and because bread may not be eaten unless challah has first been separated from it, separating challah is considered a necessary stage in the preparation of bread, and the sages permitted it. Shmuel's father said, even if one needed dough on a festival eve, he may not separate its challah on the festival, as he should have separated challah then. The mitzvah of separating challah goes into effect at the time of the kneading of the dough. The Gemara comments, let us say that Shmuel disagrees with his father. As Shmuel said with regard to challah from outside Eretz Yisrael, where the separation of challah is a rabbinic obligation, one may proceed to eat the bread and afterwards separate the challah from the remainder of the dough. This statement indicates that the separation of challah outside Eretz Yisrael is not required to render the bread permitted, in contrast to the separation of truma and tithes from produce. Consequently, separating challah is permitted on a festival, as it does not involve a significant change. This contradicts the opinion of Shmuel's father, who prohibited separating challah that could have been separated before the festival. Rava said, this is not necessarily the case. Doesn't Shmuel concede that if one designated a piece of dough as challah outside of Eretz Yisrael, it is permitted to non-priests? This proves that even Shmuel admits that a certain measure of sanctity applies to the challah. Therefore, he might also agree with his father that it is prohibited to separate challah on a festival even outside of Eretz Yisrael. Mishnah. Beit Shammai say, one may not carry a ladder, which was used for reaching doves, from one dovecote to another. However, one may move it slightly so that he tilts it from one window to another in the same dovecote. Ein molichin es hasulam mishovach l'shovach, aval mateo mechalon l'chalon. And Beit Hillel permit even carrying the ladder from one dovecote to another. Gemara, the Talmud says, Amar Rav Chanan bar Ami. Rav Chanan bar Ami said, this dispute applies only in the case where one moves the ladder in the public domain, as Beit Shammai hold that one who sees someone carrying his ladder will say to himself, he must need the ladder to plaster his roof, to prevent rainwater from dripping into his house. In other words, an onlooker will suspect him of performing prohibited labor on the festival. And Beit Hillel hold that his dovecote proves about him he is not moving the ladder for the purpose of a transgression, as it is evident that he is placing the ladder alongside the second dovecote, and everyone will understand his intention. However, in the private domain, where one will not be observed by strangers, everyone agrees that it is permitted. The Gemara asks, is that so? But didn't Rabbi Yehuda say that Rav said, wherever the sages prohibited an action due to the appearance of prohibition, even if one performs the act in the innermost chamber, Bechadrei Chadarim. Bechadrei Chadarim has a gematria value of 44. Chadrei Chadarim. This is Talmud. Chadrei Chadarim. This is the room of rooms. Nice. Afil b'chadrei chadarim, even in the innermost chamber, where no one will see it, it is prohibited. The Gemara answers, this is a dispute between Tanaim. As it is taught in a Beitzah, one whose clothes fell into water on Shabbat or a festival may spread them out to dry them in the sun, but he may not do so opposite the masses. In other words, in a place where people can see him, lest they suspect him of laundering on Shabbat. However, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon prohibit doing so even in private. Some say a different version of this discussion. Rav Chanan bar Ami said that the dispute applies to the private domain, as Beit Shammai are of the opinion that the halacha is in accordance with that which Rav Yehuda said that Rav said, and therefore Beit Shammai apply the decree of the private domain. And Beit Hillel, by contrast, are of the opinion that the halacha is not in accordance with that which Rav Yehuda said, that Rav said. However, in the public domain, everyone agrees that it is prohibited to move the ladder. The Gemara challenges this interpretation. Should we say that Rav stated his opinion in accordance with that of Beit Shammai? According to Rav Chanan bar Ami, only Beit Shammai maintains that anything prohibited by the sages due to appearances may not be performed even in private. The Gemara rejects the suggestion. No. It is a dispute between Tanaim, as it is taught in Beitzah. If clothes fell into water on Shabbat or a festival, one may spread them out in the sun, but not opposite the masses. Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon prohibit doing so. Rav Chanan bar Ami accepts the opinion of the first Tana in the Beitzah, who rejects Rav's principle. According to the opinion of the Tana, it can be claimed that Beit Hillel also rejected Rav's principle, and they permitted moving the ladder in private but not in public. Rav, on the other hand, follows the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon in interpreting the opinion of Beit Hillel